What up, you guys? Happy new moon in Capricorn. We're actually here for our weekly anchor message. I just had to figure out what day it was. It's that weird time between Christmas and New Year's where there is no time. So we're here for our anchor message. This is going to give us our weekly soul assignments and themes that we will be working with. As far as our new moon workshop, I am going to come home and record that after work. So I'm going to do this before work, get that one put up. And I just have to say that part of where we should put our consciousness during a new moon is to, at the very base level, try to stay in a positive state of consciousness. I've done a lot today that I didn't think was possible in the amount of time that I had to do it, including going into another city to a Target and getting back. So anything is possible. I'm, able to record this video before work. I'm going to do our short. I didn't get to do the typical post, but I think that is really great. It's a lot done. So basically the idea around that is that the seed level of anything that we put our hands to starts in our consciousness. And so the new moon is the seed level of the month. So it's important that our consciousness is in a state of positivity and optimism and creation and unity and harmony. That way we are planting seeds that have that energy in them for the month. Now, the challenge of a new moon is that the moon is lacking any light. We have zero light that is helping us from source light as far as that goes. So it's as the moon grows in light that the light grows within our efforts as well. So when we're in a new moon, it's kind of like the most negative energy of the month. And basically that's the gift, because when we can overcome negativity, when we can overcome darkness, that actually reveals more power, more light, more blessings. So if we can overcome our own shortcomings during the new moon energy, as well as specifically whatever new moon whatever sign the new moon is in, that's the positive aspects that you can awaken in yourself, but not before you kind of overcome the negative aspects. So it's kind of a rite of passage. If you can overcome the more difficult and negative aspects that challenge Capricorns, then that awakens the strengths that supply and support the Capricorns as they are doing their work. Now, Capricorn energy is a cardinal energy, but it's the most mature of the cardinal energy. So it has that ability to make a practical plan that will help with the follow through. Cardinal energy is very ooh, let's get something started, but it's not as great at sustaining or following through. So that's where Capricorn really comes in and gives that fiery nature of the cardinal signs, that groundedness. Okay, so our messages for the week from the Wild Unknown archetypes, we have the heart, followed by the temple, followed by Thanatos. Underneath heart, we have 8 of Wands. Underneath temple, we have 7 of Wands. And underneath the Thanatos, we have 3 of Pentacles reverse. So we are in the midst of Hanukkah as well. And during Hanukkah, aside from all of the cultural and historical and spiritual and religious associations with it, Hanukkah is an open portal of a window in time where we can access direct connection with the light of the Creator. It's a specific kind of light that we have privy to. And it's the biggest blessing because it comes down and condescends to us on our level without requiring us to have to do a lot of heavy preparation work and purification work in order to raise ourselves enough to meet that energy that's usually so high above us. So this is an act of grace and redemption, right? And that's kind of the theme this time of year, is that, you know, promise of redemption and salvation that the birth of Christ brought during this dark time in humanity, right? And here we are again, you know. Excuse me. So during this time, it's extra helpful and magical and potent, and there's all these miracles available. So if we can tune into our heart and make that time to connect with God, source, divine, and sit in appreciation and awe and bring the parts of our life that need healing and miracles, this is the time when that's really possible. So it's the best time to be tuning inward and praying. Whilst at the end of this year, we're also wrapping up that major first half of our life kind of timeline, and we are in the midst of a huge timeline jump. So right now it's important to reflect and search our hearts and get really heart-centered so that we can create from the right place moving forward. And we have a life that we are beginning to co-create once again that is reflective of what is in our purest, deepest heart, right? And so it's all about healing the heart right now. And we can see and feel that our hearts have really healed a lot. They've come a long way because we have 8 of Wands here. It's like our hearts are healing and we're moving on and we're moving forward. And because we've been able to work through and resolve that heaviness, we're now like so much lighter and freer and excited about moving forward and starting new things and starting new chapters and moving into new seasons of our life and new eras that we're not sure what they hold, but it could become good busy really soon. So the 8 of Wands is about moving forward and fast movement and lots of communication and back and forth. So for me, this is always a sign that where you may have felt like things were on pause for a minute, something is happening and things are going to start moving quickly. So get ready, be prepared to keep up. And if you can get settled and at peace and really in tune with your heart, that will help you stay grounded and in touch with that higher guidance as you're moving through the busyness of the arrival of new opportunities and new things, which, you know, the Creator and our heavenly helpers are bringing us new opportunities, but also the opponent likes to throw in some things in the mix to get us confused. And many times those things look perfectly great and they might be perfectly pure and wonderful things, but they're not necessarily our assignment. And so even though to our conscious mind, we're like, oh yeah, of course this is great. Of course I should be a pastor. That is a great thing to be. Jesus would approve, right? But what if you're not supposed to be a pastor? What if you're supposed to do something similar but different? What if you're supposed to be like a Rob Bell and make all kinds of workshops and write books and go speak to people and do all those things? And it's a different path. You know, they're both spreading the gospel. They're both helping people. And this is true because he actually left the church because he was like, this is what I thought I wanted to do, but this is actually holding me back from the work that needs to get done, right? I listened to another Christian anthropologist talking about how he had to stop taking people on the El Camino every year on a pilgrimage because his real work was to write these books that he was having all these insights about the advent of Christmas and about the ancient traditions and having new, revelation about those. And he wanted to, make sure that was here for posterity, whereas other things are fleeting and ephemeral. So sometimes we have these good things show up and we're like, oh yeah, this must be the thing, but it's like, it's just maybe not our assignment. And so it takes a lot of discernment and a lot of discipline and a lot of trust in that inner voice to be able to make those choices when they come up. So again, we have to, in the midst of that busyness, take time to tune in and get quiet and settled and listen on a daily basis. Tuning into this temple here. So I've got I ate almonds a little while ago. I'm always eating almonds, and I start the video and then I've got almond skin like coming out of the like, where you're like, oh, where did that come from? Sorry, TMI, I don't know. We've all eaten almonds. We know how it goes. Okay, so we've got the temple here. So again, the temple is like reachable through our hearts, right? That was what was so revolutionary about Christ's message, is that it kind of threatened the structure of seeking God outside of you and needing to seek outside of you. But really, it's tuning inward and going inward inside of you. And so as we're finishing out this timeline and we're moving into the next timeline, we're really reflecting so that we can get really clear on the old patterns that we need to break through, right? So we've got 7 of Wands here with the temple. So it's like now during Hanukkah, this is the time to connect in prayer and ask God to help you overcome the weaknesses in you that keep you from making the routines that you need to get your dreams accomplished. I'm there with you. I have like a couple of like minor things that are very simple, right? Very straightforward. And the math is there. If I get up at this time, like I have these amount of hours and they expand and it's crazy. But like getting that routine cinched in, if it were that easy, we'd all have it. We'd all have it down, right? But it's simple. So this is about calling on the Creator, right? And to give us strength and discipline to push through and break through our limitations and our limiting beliefs and limited goals and perspectives and the way that we've been living small and held ourselves back. So it's like we're breaking free and we're persevering and we're pushing forward beyond our weakness, and we're determining within ourselves to overcome our lower nature, to overcome our habits, to overcome our addictions, to overcome the old stories and the old loops and the old behaviors that kept taking us through the same story again and again and again. We're done with it, right? Thanos is here. Death. This is the death of the old story, the old timeline. We're at the end of this calendar year. We're at the death of this year. And so with 3 of Pentacles reversed, it's like this has got to be the end of feeling aimless, without direction, right? We're connecting with that sense of direction. And so that old behavior that went along with that aimlessness, it is no more, it no longer serves us. You know, I think a lot of the people that are attracted to this content that I channel through, we all have these goals and dreams for our life, and it may differ from the usual path. And so for many of us, we've had to figure it out for ourselves and carve our own way. And it's not as easy as it is for other people who don't have those same aims and callings, right? They get to kind of have a regular life, but we have to, step it up and do extra, because it takes that effort to make things happen. It takes effort to just maintain the status quo, right? So it takes a lot of effort to not only do the work in yourself and your own transformation, but then be able to materialize that and share it in a way that expresses your gifts and your experience and helps others. So we have to be really intentional about how we are directing our focus and our intention and our attention and our resources and our time. All of that is very precious. So we can't be caught up with things that just aren't in alignment anymore, that aren't serving us, that aren't necessarily serving us in a selfish way, but that aren't really part of God's assignment for us. Right? So many times we get sidetracked trying to be everything for everyone, or we get sidetracked just being distracted by ourselves, not having the discipline to shut the things out that are not pushing the needle forward, because it takes discipline, and it takes being able to set really strong boundaries with yourself and say no to yourself, but also being able to put boundaries out with other people and have the the backbone and the willingness to tell people no. You know, it's hard. You don't want to disappoint people. You don't want to let people down, right? But at the same time, that can be a sneaky ego trick too that keeps you too distracted, too diffused, right? We've had Knight of Wands that have come up a lot for us in the past few months, and that has been working with us about shiny object syndrome or being non-committal or not sticking with things. Cardinal energy is, again, a great starter energy, but our challenge is following through and sticking with it and becoming more consistent and stable and step by step, right? The wall here that they're building is built brick by brick by brick, right? So we're no longer suffering from indecision. We are putting an end to that. We're putting an end to letting other people divert us from what we know is true for ourselves and our calling, because they have been, conflicting ideas or desires or other plans, or, just getting caught up in the excitement and FOMO and then getting diverted from your own thing again, right? We're really recalibrating, right? Map lady in here is like recalibrating. You can do a U-turn here. And so I love this New Year's more than any New Year's recently, because it is like this nice little reset where we get to unplug the modem, let it sit, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, plug it back in. That's what they always say, the IT people. They're like, unplug it, let it sit, unplugged, power off, 10 seconds, right? So think about that at midnight. Think about unplugging, 10 seconds, and then rebooting, right? And then that is all systems go. We are rebirthing, taking that step, that sliding doors moment into that new reality, into that new dimension. And so I think that we have that craving coming awake in us for more tightening up our routines and focusing on things that are fulfilling and have purpose for us, and not falling back into our old self-defeating tendencies. And I think the things that would have frightened us or worried us or ruffled our feathers before or tempted our darker nature, I think that we've really done a lot of work to come to the other side of that. And we're never totally out of the woods. We're only human. But I think that it is, the more that we see the difference of how far we've come from where we were, the more the reality sets in, and the more we start to really embody and merge with that higher level of self, right? When we up level, when we've done that work, Spirit does give us this next piece of soul that comes in, and we can get these next levels of our soul that really awaken us to step up. But we have to continue to maintain that alignment, heart, soul, body, and strength. And so when we make our choices and take our actions, it's like we're moving through life in a different way, and we're calmer, and we're more anchored and sober and centered as we're tuning inward, and we value that little voice, and we don't question it so much, and we don't ignore it and walk all over it and piss on it and go, I know what you said, but I'm gonna fuck you anyway. Listen to we value those red flags now, right? We're grateful we saw them. We're not like, no, I didn't want to see that. We're like, oh, thank God for showing me that. Thank you. I saw that now, right? It's so funny how if you can give little things to God to trust God with. There was, as people, we get tempted to look back at people that we were attracted to, our crushes on, or had relationships with. We all go through this. This is a universal truth. But I can tell you from many, many times this has happened to me. Whenever I've been in a weak moment and thought, I wonder if that person, if he's, single, or I wonder if there's any clues indicating, and then you're like, no, if this was meant to be, it would be happening. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. And I don't need to wonder about what's going on with so-and-so. It doesn't matter, because they're not here in my life letting me know what's going on with them, right? Exactly. So it's so funny, because every time I've been able to see the value in saying no to myself and not going down that spiral, I have felt stronger and more empowered, And then every freaking time the universe, spirit, and its goodness and its kindness ends up showing me that person literally with the person that they're with now, or something in real life where I can see it. It just completely becomes clear, or like a clue will come on its own and I won't have to go after that thing, right? So listen to that guidance, act on it, and the simulation will start changing for you. When you understand that what we're moving through is this game, it's this video game, and everything that we're seeing and interacting with is there because it's a training simulation to awaken something in our soul that we came here to awaken, or to overcome darkness that we are capable of overcoming for the sake of the entire cosmos. Because every time we alchemize or overcome darkness, those sparks of light are reclaimed for the side of good, and they're put on that cosmic scale. And that takes those sparks of light back from the side of darkness. Not only that, you are moving your consciousness forward. You're adding to the collective consciousness bank that's pulling the rest of society on forward. And you're moving closer and closer to that higher destiny that is possible for you, right? That will offer you the most fulfillment, and it will awaken the most of your potential. So trust is at first, and then it's like, and then it's like, oh, okay, it's pretty exciting. So if you are like trying to get over a gambling addiction, just try faith. It's just as terrifying. It feels like just as big of a risk, and it'll give you plenty of cortisol or whatever it is that you get from it. All right, y'all, I'm going to do our short real quick, and then I'm going to come home and I'm going to do our workshop, and I'm excited and proud of myself. All right, ciao.